Yeah, it get rough in them trenches, man, bruh, scuffed up my lens. But I can see clearer now. Look at myself in the mirror now.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This Ishmusic. I just want to talk real quick about some of the recording process for King Ish. Do a little breakdown on some of the songs, kind of break down, what into making the song, some of the production choices, featured artists, all that type of stuff. Just a little bit of insight of the creation process. So if you're not familiar, Ishmusic, producer, writer, artist, all of the above. I put a project out called King Ish, and what it is just talking about, it's just real life, real music, more on the mature side, you know what I'm saying? I would say real life grown man situations. You know what I'm saying? If I had to put it into words, I would describe it like that. But what it is basically, it's some of my journey, some of my life into the music, and I think when I listen to it helps encourage me, it helps kind of inspire me, you know what I'm saying? So I hope that it does the same for the listener when they hear it. And the thing too, it's from a again, it's Memphis to the core. It's Memphis. It's Memphis music. It's a Memphis point of view, but like I said, it's a more mature point of view. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a young man trying to do young man's music. I'm doing music that I appreciate, that I know my fans or audience will appreciate. It's real, authentic, and it speaks for itself. You can push play and you can hear it. So that's a long story short. That's just kind of introduction. I'm not gonna do that on every video, but what I am gonna do is go into each individual song, kind of break down again some of the things that are in it, some of the hidden gems, Easter eggs that you might not have caught. So I kind of point some of those out, but also talk about some of the lyrics, again some of the features, and just what went into those songs and those recordings all together. So y'all ready? Let's dive in. So the first one on the list, of course, we're coming in with Claiming the City. And the title alone just talks about, it's almost like reclaiming the city. So it might be, you think about, a lot of the music that's coming out of the city right now, a lot of music that came out of the city in the past, and stuff that's gonna come out in the future. And so I think that for me, it's just me saying, let me put my claim on my city. You know what I'm saying? Memphis is my city. I'm home, born and raised, been here all my life. And so as a Memphian, and as a Memphis music maker, I feel like I got something to say about Memphis music. So I'm just putting my claim on the city. But also, the city and a lot of the music, sometimes we get a bad rap, you know what I'm saying, for all the stuff that's happening in the city and some of the music that comes out of the city. And so it's also just claiming the city as an artist, as saying, there's so much more that comes from Memphis. And Memphis has such a wide variety of different music genres and music styles. And so we never want to be pigeonholed into just one thing. So I'm claiming the city for all of us as artists, as creatives. We can be whatever we want to be, and the city can be known for whatever we want to be known for. So it's up to us. So when I say claiming the city, that's what I'm talking about there. But also, like I said, Memphis is so hot right now, so you got so many people claiming the city, and they want the Memphis sound or Memphis type beats, or they love, we got all the hottest artists. And so, for us as Memphians, and for, it's so many people trying to ride our wave, and it's been like that before. We let it happen once before, but I don't think we're gonna let it happen this time. So, too many people trying to claim the city that are not Memphians. And so with some little references in the song we'll kind of touch on that, especially for me and my fan base, or people in my age range or whatever, some things I say kind of let you know it's Memphis to the core. So we're gonna dive right in. And so this is these are the final mixes, but it's not running through all my external hardware that I use. So it's not the final mix and master, but it's close enough to get the point across for what we're doing today. First of all, let me clean this up. I should get my mouse too. So right out the gate, I got to stop right there. So right out the gate, it starts with those waves, and that's an actual recording of the waves at in Destin. And for me and my family, you know, that's one of the spots, especially me and my wife, that's one of the spots we've always gone to vacation. You know, we take an annual vacation down there with the kids. We've done that for years and years. And so there were some times for us, conversations on the beach and talks on the beach, and where we, you know, grew closer together, grew closer spiritually, all of that, but also individually. And so there was a time when, and if you follow my wife, she talked about a time with our second child where there was some uncertainty about some health issues during the pregnancy. And so she had a good moment just walking on the beach, and God talked to her and spoke to her on the beach in Destin. And so I know those waves, and hearing those waves is special to her, but it's also special to me because I mean, I've worked on this project for you know, a few years. And so there were times when I was out on the beach and questioning, you know, am I going to do this? Am I going to put it out? Should I go through with it? Should I keep going? And so during that process, you know, just hearing those waves and spending that time on the beach in Destin is real powerful and spiritual. So the last time we were there, when I was working on it, I made sure to just kind of record the waves and the sound. So, you know, it really, when that comes on, it really just kind of sets the tone for the project. And of course, I'm an Aquarius, so I love the water. So it's a part of me, so all of that. So yeah, that's why you hear the waves right there in the beginning. Now let me talk about the feature on here. Of course, I produced the track, but the feature that I got on here from my guy Soulfuudskonie. Shout out to Skoney, man, one of the best vocalists. Where you talking about R&B, soul, hip hop, you know, Southern soul, anything. He does it all. And so I had already done the song, but I felt that it needed that. I felt it needed another touch, and so he was able to add that soul that I wanted on top of it with his vocals and just kind of going in between what I was saying.
I know how it's helped me through some tough situations, you know what I'm saying? Just life lessons in general. So
I said we talking about, you know, life lessons.
And give it to the people.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Had to come back with the genuine. Paid dues, I'm a general. Gather around all of my minions, yeah. I had to be claiming the city when they wasn't zipping and pipping. Pulling them all of the Memphis, flicking on Beale before we had Grizzlies.
Okay, so I gotta go back on that line. I'm gonna play it one more time if you didn't catch it.
Gather around all of my minions, yeah. I had to be claiming the city when they wasn't zipping and pipping. Pulling them all of the Memphis, flicking on Beale before we had Grizzlies.
Hey, now if you heard that and you lived it and you know, then you know. And I said they wasn't zipping and pipping. So automatically, if I say zipping pipping and you're a Memphian, you already know what I'm talking about. So that means our childhood, we spent many years riding that raggedy zipping pipping at Libertyland, and so yeah, if you wasn't zipping and pipping, then you wasn't around. You weren't around in those days. You don't have that Memphis history, and you might not understand a lot of the references that are coming in this song. So and then I went on to say flicking on Beale before we had Grizzlies. So there was a time when, you know, the thing to do was to ride down on Beale Street. So we would go hit Beale Street and just ride around. Of course, we were underage, you know, or not young enough or not old enough to get into any clubs to actually do anything in particular on Beale Street, but hang out, walking down the street. But even then, we would just ride around. It was more about riding around, flicking on Beale. You know, everybody was bouncing their cars, especially back then when the West Coast had hydraulics. You know, we were just, you know, just hitting the brakes and the gas and just bouncing our cars, making them bounce. And so, you know, that's back then, you know, you had box Chevys, all of that. I had the rodeo at the time, so we'd be riding around, just, you know, bouncing up, flicking on Beale. And of course, before the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies didn't come until like, was that like late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. So yeah, so way back. So you had to been zipping and pipping and flicking on Beale to really know what I'm talking about. So that's some of the references in that song. But overall, again, it's just about just reclaiming the city, you know, putting my stamp on it and telling some of those stories. Let's see what else we got.
they can get a scholarship. We standing on business. Turn your attentions. This a king-ish rendition. So we're sending blessings to the ancestors for their guidance and the wisdom. And we're saying the prayer for the children, the lost ones and the innocent. See, we ain't trying to lead them off a cliff. Tell them they can get a scholarship. We standing on.
So we saying right there, we letting you know, it's we talking about.
So we're sending blessings to the ancestors for their guidance and the wisdom. And we're saying the prayer for the children, the lost ones and the innocent. See, we ain't trying to lead them off a cliff. Tell them they can get a scholarship. We standing on business.
So when you hear that already, you know what you're in for on this project. You know what type of substance you're gonna get. You know what type of inspiration you're gonna get. You know it's gonna be some real shit on this album. So when you hear those lines, you already know what time it is.
Standing on business. This is an honorable mention. I had to play my position. I had to make a decision. Yeah, it get rough in them trenches, man, bruh. Scuffed up my lenses, but I can see clearer now. Look at myself in the mirror now. This for the sake of the baby.
So even then, so again, it's for me, it's putting this art out. It's putting my best foot forward. It's putting my thoughts down. And so when I say I can look at myself in the mirror now, meaning that, I'm not necessarily known as an artist or somebody that does music. I'm more known as a producer or engineer and working with somebody that's creating the music or whatever. But when I first, my initiation into this was as a creator, like, rapping and making music and making songs. And so I learned how to engineer and produce just so I could do our own music. We didn't have to go outside the house or go to anybody else to produce music. Shout out to my brother, News, Gabe, y'all know him as Gabe, but Silent News. We had the group Focal, and we put out a few projects back in the day. But that was the person that kind of that we were hand in hand making this music. And so definitely shout out to him, one of the best rappers ever, in my opinion, writers in general. But my definitely my in this thing.
This for the sake of the baby. She sell hair and real estate, baby. She don't care, it's whatever for them babies, but she need a break.
Yeah, wait a minute. I gotta run that back. Listen to it.
This for the sake of the baby. She sell hair and real estate, baby. She don't care, it's whatever for them babies, but she need a break.
So that's, you already know. If you know me, that's my wife does hair. We got a salon, so so the Shea Butter Baby, that's a reference to her. She was doing real estate at the time. That shows how far back I did this. She kind of on a little hiatus right now, but she was doing real estate at the time on top of the salon and all that. And then just being a mother, you know what I'm saying, wife and a mother. So just kind of highlighting and showing that I understand and appreciate her struggle. And again, this album is got some personal to it, but it's universal. So it can adapt, or it can go with any situation. You know what I'm saying? I knew that it would resonate with a lot of women. That's why I put because I know when they hear it, they probably say he sure know what to say when they hear their part. So and then Soulfuudskonie.
On the way.
Oh, I did, and I mentioned, like I said, the Focal, Line Food. We put out a project called Line Food, unreleased. It's in the vault. We might release it one day, but we are working on a Line Food 2. So I guess we're gonna have to drop the one so you'll understand what's happening with the 2. So that's when I said Line Food 2 is on the way.
2 on the way. That shit might get too real. Yeah. She like, you know what to say.
So that's the quick review, or not so quick review, for Claiming the City off the King-ish project, streaming everywhere. The link will be in the description, so you can go check that out. Put it on your playlist, tell somebody, listen to it, and I'll see you on the next one.
Let's see what Walter means. Oh, means you're the commander of the army.
So as I was editing the first video, I realized I left out a very important piece of the song Claiming the City. That voice you hear right there at the end, that's actually my youngest daughter, Anna, when she was talking about what is your name, what does Walter mean? And so that conversation came about. We were just kind of randomly talking about something one day, and it might have been about names or something. And she was like, let's see what Walter means. And she was like, oh, it means you're the commander of the army. And for her to say that, it was kind of unexpected to her. But for me, it was reaffirming and confirmation for me because I've heard that before. But at the time, I needed to hear it, especially in line with this Kingish project and just the follow through and going through with it. So for her to say that, for her to come out like it did, I was glad to be able to add her to it. Of course, she didn't want to do it, but I put her on there anyway, and I like it. It's a nice touch. So yeah, that's my baby girl. Shout out to her at the end of Claiming the City.
Gather around all of my minions.